Hello, everybody. Kristen Brown here. Let me do a little bit of housekeeping here to make sure got some weird hairs going on. I got all kinds of stuff. Let me do my lighting a little bit. I think that's okay. Oh, it's windy outside. Okay. Oh, this keeps going smaller or bigger. Hold on a second. Let me get this set up, y'all. I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to do minimize. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. I apologize, but I am Kristen Brown, and I'm here today to talk to you guys about the magic of self-grace. And the reason why I was inspired to make this video, or this live stream, is because I made a video on grace, and I think I called it a crucial but often underrated self-healing practice. Because it is exactly that. It is underrated. It is not spoken about very often, but it is one of the most powerful that packs the most amazing punch, and we don't hear about it enough. But one of the comments on that video was someone who's been struggling with self-grace and giving themselves the definition of what I consider grace is of self. And I call that an emotional 911. And if somebody in my community is suffering or somebody in my community is stuck, I don't know, there's something inside of me that just says, you got to run and hightail it to that computer as fast as you can and get on a live stream, because that means that one of my people is hurting. One of my people is stuck, and I am doing my best to help you guys heal. I'm doing my best to facilitate information to you, deliver information to you that can help you grow, because this is a self-healing journey. The work is all done up here. The work is not done out here. The work is not something somebody gives to us. It's not something that we can take from somebody and pat it all over our body. It actually is all done up here. This is where the self-healing work happens. So what I do is I facilitate information. I teach people. I talk about experiences healed, things that I've been through. I share my wisdom and my knowledge, my experience, but also all the connections I've made through patterning and everything else that has brought me to this journey of where I am now as a YouTuber. Who knew? I said that to my husband recently. I said, honey, who knew? If you would have told me 10, 15 years ago that I would be a YouTuber, I would have been like, ah, that would have been the funniest thing I had ever heard. But when part of my community is having an emotional 911, I feel it's very, very important to get on here and to share my information, because I know how painful it can be, especially when it comes to the opposite of self-grace, which is what this person is dealing with. But it's not only this person. There's a lot of people in this world who are walking around beating the bleep out of themselves, and they don't need to be doing that, because there's a misunderstanding about situations. There's a misunderstanding about why we're here. There's a misunderstanding about the purpose that we're here, what we're supposed to be doing here, and what we're supposed to be learning while we are here. So first, I want to talk about what the opposite of self-grace is. And I'm going to break this down over probably somewhere between 45 and 60 minutes. That's how long my live streams are. So if anybody who jumps on here now and you can't stay till the end, that's okay. Feel free to dip back in later when you have a chance, because I will be posting this on my channel under my lives. You can find it there. It's also under the playlist, I think, called Inspirational Talks, because this is my platform. This is my stage to talk to people publicly in person. Here you are. And by the way, please jump in the chat down here, say hello, tell me where you're from, and feel free to ask any questions along this conversation so that I can answer anything as it's coming up for you in real time. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Everybody asks all kinds of questions in this group, and that's the community that I have formed. So there's no question that is stupid. There's no question that's going to make you look bad. There's no question that is redundant or ridiculous, because we are all at different places on our healing journey, and all questions are relevant. So first, I want to talk to you about what the opposite of, oh, little iodine. you, you doll baby, you are the best. If I did not have a button, it could not have been touched. Bless you, girl. Okay, she's here. Thank you, little iodine. I'm so glad that you are here. And yes, this is for you, my little sister, because I heard a little nice emotional 911 with you. And when I hear those things, I don't know. This is built into me. I don't like that. I don't like to people to suffer. I don't like people to be hard on themselves. I want people to grow and to heal. So let's talk about first what it is the opposite of self grace. It is self condemnation, it is self attack, it is holding ourselves to I'm sorry, standards that are just ridiculous. Like nobody can be held to these standards because it is literally impossible. It's impossible. No one on this planet is perfect. When I first learned that, I was like, because I remember dabbling in perfection. And I say dabbling because I wasn't what I'd consider perfectionist, but I remember feeling tendencies towards that. Like, put it this way, I've seen people that were worse perfectionists than I was. But it was about really trying to make sure that my life was handled in certain ways that made me feel like I had it all together. And what I know for sure is we may have it all together in some areas of our lives, but maybe other areas of our lives we do not. And we need to be gentle with ourselves about that because there is no perfection. You are not the reason no, I know you're not the reason you're suffering, honey. I know that. I completely know that. But I started off this chat, I'm not sure if you were in here, I said that one of my subscribers was having an emotional what I call an emotional 911, and when that happens, when I see something that I'm like, I don't like how this person is feeling," then it tends to promote me to jump on live and to give a conversation about that, hence why I'm talking about the magic of self-grace. So, there was at one point in my life where I really had this perfectionistic standard about myself. Now, no one called me a perfectionist, and looking back on it, it's not really that I was like a hardcore perfectionist like I was saying, it was just that there was a level of perfection and standard that I held myself to that was pretty freaking high. And you know that that level is too high when it's causing you to suffer. When the I doesn't get dotted or the T doesn't get crossed or something does not happen and you feel yourself suffering and it has something to do with the material world. Okay. It could have something to do with your hair doesn't turn out great today, or somebody came to your house and it wasn't completely clean. You hadn't cleaned the toilet or you had dishes in your sink. These type of things. It's, and you feel like kind of a cringy type feeling, that's when you know you have like kind of an over the top level of perfection or a standard that is too high because nobody gives a crap. I'm trying not to cuss because I'm monetized now, but nobody gives a crap if you have dishes in your sink. In fact, something that's really interesting is I coach in my home. I do it on Zoom, but I also coach in my home. That's my coaching space, as most of you know. By the way, how do you like the remodel? I did a remodel. I needed an energetic shift. And and people would walk up, this is upstairs, so people would walk up my stairs and I pile things on my stairs that I'm ready to go upstairs with. If I'm not ready to go upstairs at that moment, I'll just pick them up as I go upstairs. But 2 of my clients, both of them said separately at different times, they were like, as they're walking up my stairs and they're seeing the piles of things on the sides of the stairs, they said, "I'm so glad to see this." I'm like, "Oh, why?" They said, "You make me feel so normal." So by me being willing to be imperfect and be completely authentic that I have stuff on my stairs. I also have a very hairy cat, and my god, that girl. In fact, it's very kind of what's the word? Satisfying after I vacuum. I vacuum every single week because she is a hairy girl. And then when I empty out the little container and I pull out, I'm like, look at all that. But sometimes that hair during the week will accumulate in the corners of the steps. I have wooden stairs. And and I see it and I'm like, yeah, I need to sweep that, but I don't get all crazy about it. If someone comes over and sees hair on my stairs, I don't even worry about it anymore. But there was an unpacking and an unfolding of this that needed to happen to me for me. So I'm going to write that down so I can continue going because I want to remember to talk more about that. But first, water. So the first thing about giving ourselves grace is when we can really sit down and really think about, am I giving myself an unrealistic expectation? I've gained weight in menopause. I get put 10 pounds on me. I've never not been a comfortable weight my entire life. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like this 10 pounds on me. I'm short. 10 pounds is a pant size for me. And I'm like, what is this? This is yucky. And at first I had this feeling of, oh, it's the way I look. It's the way I look. And you know what I did? Because it was something external of me, I gave myself grace because my hormones has changed. My body has changed. I did hair for 30 years. And I remember my clients in the menopausal and perimenopausal ages talking about this and me being like not really believing it because I'd never had that problem. And now I'm in it. Of course, isn't that the way? Karma. So, but the point is that I I give myself grace for it because I'm a healthy person. I eat well and I don't eat a lot and I'm not a huge, sugar person and all these things. Plus I exercise and this weight doesn't want to budge. So I'm leaving it there. I'm like, okay, if that's the way it's going to be these days, is I'm going to accept it. I'm giving myself grace for being the age I am and having extra 10 pounds on me that I'm not super fond of. Although in parentheses, I do still keep my other genes because I am hoping to lose that 10 pounds. Okay, but with that being said, I'm not going to hold myself to an unrealistic expectation about what I'm supposed to look like at my age. It's unrealistic. And to look at that and to say, this, I'm still supposed to have the body I had when I was 30 years old. That's unrealistic. And I'm going to beat myself up. And guess what's going to happen to my self worth? It's going to diminish. And guess what's going to happen to my self esteem? It's going to diminish. Then I'm going to walk around as a smaller version of me because I'm holding myself to a unrealistic standard, y'all. Okay, we got to stop doing that. We got to stop holding ourselves to a standard that is unrealistic. And here's the thing about coaching and delivering content online. People want to fight a lot of things. They want to, oh, well, is it unrealistic to expect this? Or, they want to say some things. Here's what I got for you. I ain't your guru, bros. I'm not your guru. I'm not the boss of you. And I am certainly not God. Okay. You are God inside of you for you. So you get to go inside and you get to ask yourself by being honest and aware, am I being unrealistic about these standards? Am I being hard on myself? Am I holding myself to a standard that is really ridiculous, that I cannot possibly make or live up to? And if that's the case, that's when you need to apply grace. Okay. So by understanding, one of the first steps for me is to understand that that's unrealistic. All right. When I hired my publisher, I contacted her and I was like, hey, do you self-publish people, blah, blah, blah. She said yes. And we had this conversation. Oh, Sharente, hi, baby girl. I said, oh, I'm going to write this book in like 3 months, 2 months, because the ideas were just flowing out of me. And as 2 months came along, I was like, totally unrealistic standard. And I remember thinking, oh, for a minute, I felt kind of stupid. I felt like, you really thought you were going to write this book in 2 months? But then I gave myself grace and I thought, girl, you were excited. You were really excited. You were, on fire. Inspiration was flowing. You had your outline, like this book was pouring out of you. It just didn't happen in 2 months. It's still pouring out of you. So I gave myself grace because that's honestly what I thought it was going to take. I didn't realize it was going to take 6 months, which, by the way, y'all, my first book took 3 years. So this is all, by all accounts and purposes, really fast written book. But again, it was the inspiration was streaming out of me. So my point is that I took the time to sit with myself in that moment when I was like, this book is not going to be done in, I think it was 2 months. I told her it is certainly not going to be done in 8 weeks. There's no possible way. And I got acceptable with myself. I gave myself acceptance and compassion. And I said, it's okay. And what happened is I didn't feel my self-worth didn't decrease. My self-esteem didn't decrease. I didn't feel crappier about myself. I didn't think there was something wrong with me. I just looked at it as realistic. The first thing I said was really unrealistic. It was innocent. It was innocent on my part, but it was unrealistic that it was going to happen in that time frame. So I gave myself grace and I said, it's okay. It's not going to happen like that. So the first thing is that we really want to talk about um, our unrealistic expectations of ourselves. Okay. Once you start to really look at that. There's something magical that happens inside because quite literally what happens with each thought that we have, we are going to create a set of emotions. Thoughts create chemical releases in the brain, which are what we feel when we feel an emotion. So if we're thinking this low vibe, toxic thought, that we're hurting ourselves and attacking ourselves, that's going to create a chemical release in our brain that is going to cause an emotion. But when we look at something, just a slight trajectory or perception shift over here, oh, that was unrealistic. Okay. That felt soothing to me. That felt calming to me. So, guess what chemicals were released? Soothing and calming chemicals to accompany that thought. Or I should say, actually, that thought was a soothing thought which created those chemicals. But anyway, so then I was feeling much calmer even after this thing that I was not living up to because I saw it realistically. This is what the magic is of self grace. When I say there's magic, this is magic because you're going from a thought form that's hurting you to a thought form that's soothing you. And we have that ability all day long, every day. What are we going to choose? One of my loved ones called me today and said, "Remember the other day when you said," I was talking about this to this person. I said, "Here's our thoughts right here. Okay. This is our egoic thoughts. Can you guys see my hands? They're just outside of my periphery. Like if I put them like this, I can barely see my arms just, outside of my periphery. This is how our ego thoughts are, our fearful, limiting beliefs are at first. They're outside our periphery. They're just this little whisper over here. Okay. But if we look at it and start glomming onto it, that thought moves right here to where it's in our awareness. And now we're really focused on that thing. I'm moving away from my microphone. We're really focused on that thing. Now there's energy that's going into this disempowered, the egoic, fearful, limiting belief thought. Lots of energy is going into this, which is going to create more thoughts like it, which is going to perpetuate the chemicals release and the emotions that come from it. So this is what I do. If something comes in that I'm like, I hear it and it's kind of something shitty, and I'm like, I don't even look at it. I will quite literally go, peace and calming oil, Barizona thingy, whatever, mouse. I won't even let my mind go there because I know that I can go down that. It's going to create emotion inside of me to think these disempowered things, which is going to create more thought and more emotion. And pretty soon I'm on a spiral. So this is where it's really about being intentional. It's about being consistent. I will say this till the cows come home. The healing path is not hard. It's just different because we are quite literally breaking the habits that we have thinking in a particular way, and we're shifting it into a different way of thinking. And it's quite literally breaking a habit. So is it really hard? No, it's not hard. It's not like pushing a 90-pound boulder uphill. It's not hard. Okay. What it is different. It's catching it and changing it, catching it and changing it, catching it and changing it. It's more about consistency. Okay. So that's what needs to be done here when we are working on self grace. It's about being mindful about this and understanding that it feels so much better. And when you start to apply it to yourself, guess what happens? The opposite, remember, the opposite decreases your self worth and your self esteem. When you give yourself grace, your cup starts to fill. I can't make this stuff up. I did not make this up. Other teachers talk about this out in the world. Spirituality talks about this. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this in different language. This is what happens. This is the science of it. This is how we fill up from the inside out. So if we're continually beating ourselves down, think about a bully beating somebody down. That person's going to shrink and get very, very small. But then you got somebody over here, a cheerleader that's cheering somebody on and really making them feel good. They're going to start to rise. The same thing is true with ourselves. We can be really ruthless to ourselves. We can be very mean to ourselves. We can hurt ourselves desperately. We can be relentless, and we keep doing it. And that's a choice. But when we make these choices not to do those anymore, and we get very consistent about changing, not going to allow myself to think like that, I'm going to start thinking like this, which is, by the way, the thinking like this is capital T truth. It's unchangeable. Okay. It is truth of the highest energy and essence of the entire freaking universe. There's nothing else that's more true than this. Not any sort of thing you come up with over here is going to be more true than this. Guess what happens? Over time, you start to do this naturally. You absolutely start to do this naturally. When I was writing up the notes for this, I thought to now built into the architecture of the way I naturally think. Trust me, I was the other, beating myself up, perfectionism, all the things I told you guys about. But now it's built into the architecture. I do something like, oh, it just doesn't even faze me anymore that it's a mistake or it was something wrong. Now, I don't mean I always feel like we have to disclaim when we're on public forums like this shooting all over the world. This doesn't mean that I don't recognize if I've made a mistake, maybe I need to make amends to somebody. That's not what I'm saying. I automatically give myself grace because that was the best I could do at that time. I'm going to pause there and read my note. Just so you know, your book is magic. Remember, I called my county library to order your book? They did. Imagine if others in every county in the United States ordered. You did do that. I remember, and they got it, and you're reading it. And I'm so, so happy, little iodine. You are awesome. You are somebody that's really dedicated to the healing work, by the way. Oh no, I'm running out of water. Okay. So let's keep going. Many times we're hard on ourselves because we think we're supposed to be something other than who we are. That's part of the people pleasing. That's part of the programming. That's part of somebody in our life telling us we were not good enough, we were too much, or we are not enough. Those people, whether it was TV, everybody wants to blame the parents, y'all. But I'm gonna tell you, it's not always the parents. It can be the parents, it cannot be the parents. Because we live in a world, in a society full of all kinds of ideas, ideologies, levels of perfection. I mean, if you look at supermodels over the years, right? You look at them over the years. First of all, look at Marilyn Monroe. Okay. Then you look up in the 70s or something, there was Twiggy. Remember her? And then it moved up, and then all the ladies had to be really tall. And now we're doing more normal sized bodies. I mean, this thing, the standard is consistently changing. You wait long enough, you're going to fit into the standard. Okay. But most of the time, we're out of what society is deeming as perfect or right and true at this moment, right? I don't think I ever blended in with any of those archetypes or whatever we want to call them of what body perfect was back in the day. I don't think I've ever once fit into those things, any of those type of types. Does that mean there's something wrong with me? No. And it also means there's not something wrong with you. But I digress. What I'm trying to say is that somewhere along the line, we picked up information from the outside world that made us feel like we're not enough or we're too much. That's the nutshell version of it. And then we started walking around literally thinking there's something wrong with us. Okay. I call it the I suck. That's what I call it. We think we suck. We think there's something wrong with us in some form of our life or another. It could be physical looks. It could be our shape. It could be our height. It could be our level of education, where we grew up. It could be having an accent. I know people that have accents that were like, oh no, they literally got rid of their accents because they thought it was better to not have one. And I'm talking about Americans, like a Southern accent. People got rid of their Southern accents or their New Yorker accent because they thought it would be better not to have one. Okay, well, who said that it's wrong to have? I think Southern accents are charming as hell. Okay, I think they're the cutest things on the planet. So, but why would because somebody told them they better not have an accent. See what I'm saying? For whatever reason. So we will adjust, shift, and morph these things in ourselves. And guess what? Probably until that person got rid of their Southern accent, they were probably beating themselves up thinking that they were not good enough. Okay. So it's this who we are aspect. We think who we are is flawed, broken, bad, wrong, when it really isn't. We're exactly who we're supposed to be at any given moment. We're not supposed to be anything other than who we are. We were created exactly the way we're supposed to be created. Even this mole on my arm, even I had mole on my chest, even that one. all the things, okay? We are created exactly how we are supposed to be created. So to think that we're supposed to be something else because somebody out there in la la land in this society is telling us we're supposed to be something different, who's making up that rule? I will tell you this one thing. If God didn't make up that rule, I ain't listening. Period. Because we're all about getting into the energy of the universe, the highest possible energy. That's what we do here on this channel, is we shift our lower vibrational spaces that we came across organically. That is not our fault. These things happen, but we are moving into higher vibrational spaces. And once we get to know ourselves really well, and we do know that we are divine spark, that we are a child of God, that we were created exactly how we're supposed to be created, and we truly embrace that. Again, the magic of grace, the magic of self love. What does that do? The former does this, and the latter does this. It fills us back up again. It fills up that worthiness cup. So many times the ego is going to beat you up. The ego is going to beat us up. It's going to tell us that, well, but this particular thing that you did is really, really bad. This particular thing, I get what Kristen is saying about this, and this, but this thing, no. And here's what I want to say to you. I'm going to ask you this one time. Did you do the best you could at the level of thinking, knowledge, wisdom, backstory, and experience that you had? Let me hear. Did you? Yes, you did. You can't not. Because another cool thing about this spiritual journey is fact, we're always doing the best we can in any given moment. But sometimes it doesn't look good. Sometimes it's not the best thing on the planet. Sometimes after the fact, we think we could have done better. And that's the beauty of quantum forgiveness. It is built in to our essence. God doesn't even forgive, bestow a magic wand and forgive you. You're already forgiven because it's built into who we are as spirit in earth suits. It is literally built into who we are. In fact, there's a quote here. Grace is not earned. It is freely given. I want you to let that sink in. Grace is not earned. It is freely given from God. The only problem is we're not giving it to ourselves. We're beating ourselves up. Okay? Once again, if it comes out of God's mouth, God doesn't have a mouth, but if it comes out of God's mouth, I'm listening. If it comes out of divine intelligence, I'm listening. If it comes out of the highest possible energy of love, I'm listening. Those are the things that I apply to my life. Okay? I don't apply man-made rules. I apply spiritual concepts that I know are of the highest possible energy and essence. And that's what self-grace is. Grace is of capital L love. Grace is of God. That's what it is. So I apply it to myself, okay? When I apply grace to myself, like I said, it's balming, it's soothing, my worthiness goes up, my shame decreases, and I feel actually better. And this is the same thing that can happen for you. All right, let's keep moving. Let me see. I have a message here. Sophia Moreno, what's up? Hi, girl. Am I a psychologist? No, I am not a psychologist. Although, interestingly enough, many of you know I'm a hairdresser. And in freshman year of high school, I took a aptitude test, which is like, what would you be good at? And I equally tested into cosmetology, hairstyling, and psychology. Shocker. But no, I'm not a psychologist. Okay. I'm just a girl who's been through a lot and has learned a lot. And I'm here to share it with you guys. All right. So it's not who we think we are in this given moment, this fallible, flawed person that made mistakes. What matters is who we are becoming. If we are moving into, and we're wanting, at least you have, if you're listening right now, if you've been through this room, I will tell you right now, you're shifting. Period. You can't not. We are evergreen evolving. Okay. I just made that up. Evergreen evolving, which means we're evolving all the time. if we have any sort of influence from the outside world, from people or books or things, even if we're evolving, it can be evolving a different direction too, if we're not taking in the right type of high vibe things. But we are ever, ever, ever evolving. So what are you becoming? What are you aiming towards becoming? I knew that I didn't want to have this lopsided and dysfunctional relationship patterns anymore. Period. I wanted peace. I remember just going, God, I just want peace. I just want peace. Please help me find peace. And guess what? I found peace. And when I found peace, my next thing was I need to figure out why I keep attracting these lopsided, painful relationships. That was my next piece. And I figured that out. So I started evolving in a way. I was unbecoming what I was, and I was becoming a better version of myself, an improved version of myself. Okay. Better implies that I was bad before. So let me not use that. That is not better. I'm not better than was before. What I am is evolved. I've learned something new. I've evolved into a healthier version of myself who knows now my self-worth. And this is what you're doing. If you're even at all, have you have even put one fingernail on the healing path, then you're moving in the right direction. Period. In fact, if you've even said, I want to start healing, boop, you change trajectories. This path is no longer relevant for you. You've changed trajectories. You're now going to go this way. You may not even have taken a step yet, but that awareness has shifted your trajectory. This is how brilliant this path is, you all. This is how amazing it is to be alive today and to know the things that we know and know that we have a say in our life. Again, we can move forward on this path, but sometimes we don't get very far unless we're applying grace to ourselves. Grace is one of the self-love tenets, hold on, that I talk about in my book, The Recovering People Pleaser, a spiritual guide to reclaim your true worth and attract the love you deserve. Okay. This book was published in April of 2023. Little Iodine is reading it. I know Sharente read it. She actually read the first chapter out loud on the Wisdom app. This book packs a powerful punch. Everybody who's read it has given me, actually, to be honest with you, all the feedback that I'd hoped I'd hear. I never told anybody what I wanted to hear back. I never said a word to anybody that said that these are the things that I hope people get from it. But those are the things that people called and texted and wrote on testimonials and stuff that they got from it. So if you're interested in this book, you can find it on Amazon. In fact, this is the beauty of life. I am going to write it in here right now. Let me see. Let me figure out how to do this, you guys. I'll put the link in here. https go.ht/book. Okay, that is the link that you can click on and go find my book. It is on Amazon, and there's no words to describe the amount of healing that is in that book that I hope to deliver to people. It is quite literally my healing path. It's everything that I've done. But there's a chapter in there that I go into the 5 self-love tenets. And this 5 self-love tenets are going to change your life. They're quite literally the miracle cure to healing hidden shame and unworthiness. When you start applying these things to yourself, you are going to feel yourself shift, but it's not going to be in a jarring way. It's not going to be like, oh my God, all of a sudden I shifted. It's not going to feel like that. All of a sudden, you're just going to wake up one day and you're going to be facing a different direction. You're going to be thinking differently. You're going to notice yourself responding differently to people. This is the cool part of the healing journey. It's this slow, beautiful evolution that takes place over time. So we don't have to have any time frames for this. We don't have to say, by this time next year, I want to be done with the self-healing PhD program. I want to be Dr. Kristen self-healed, completely healed. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. This is a progression over a lifetime. However, I will say, in my experience, once you've learned, or I've learned, the things that I needed to apply to myself to keep myself on the healing path, when new things came up in my life, I had the tools. I had the techniques, I had the kit, I had the practices. So I now knew. And what I will tell you is this: you don't stop dealing with life things, you just move through them faster. And these are things that I learned organically on my own path. And then I heard them asked of other spiritual teachers in the world, and they said the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, there's no other way to explain it. It's not that we don't have life happening to us anymore. It's just that we know how to get through those things faster. We know how to get back, reclaim our vibe back faster than we did in the past. So only way I can explain that is, let's say I was struggling through something and it might have taken me years before, and then it went down to months, and then it went down to weeks, and then it went down to days. And it's not always with every single piece and part that comes up upon our healing path. Each thing might have a little different time frame attached to it, but there's an improvement. We move through things faster because we don't have all this clutter and yuck and mud that is filling our psyche that we can't navigate through, like we're frozen. It's a clearer space to navigate. It's like pulling up into an empty parking space as opposed to pulling up into a parking lot, as opposed to pulling up to a parking lot in Christmas. You pull up in Christmas, there's all this clutter and there's people and there's stuff and there's nowhere to park. Okay. The self-healing journey, once you start to heal, it's going to be like pulling up into an empty parking lot. There's so much space to create and to navigate that there wasn't before, because you were carrying around all the programming and baggage and pain of the past. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. No one else has messaged me. If you guys want to message me, feel free. Send me any little message you want. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions. And I would love to see who's still in the room. If you guys are here, you can give me a little shout out. Hey, hey. Okay. So let me keep going. What's interesting is I made some notes and then I couldn't find them. So this is my other notes. Oh yeah. I talked about taking the first step on the journey, and this is an important thing. In the video, the short video that I made, they're actually called long form because they're not shorts, YouTube shorts, but this was only like a 6.5-minute video. That's the long form, but this is really the long form. I hope I'm not confusing you all. But the video that I made about this, I think it was called A Crucial but Often Overlooked Self-Healing Practice. That was the name of it. All right. And I was talking about giving ourselves grace. Now I forgot what I was going to tell you about that. Oh, I think it was about this. It's really about getting started on the journey. And I asked you in that video, have you taken the time to give yourself grace? Because we can't just watch video after video and TV show and read book after book and not do the work and expect something to happen. We have to be willing to put in the effort required. But I will tell you something, no effort put into the healing journey is in vain. That's one of the other cooler things. Imagine if you went to college, no matter what credits that you got, let's say you dropped out. Okay, no matter what credits you got and you dropped out, let's say they were still available to you 50 years later. It's kind of the same thing. There's no steps that you put forward in the healing journey that are not serving you in some way or capacity. They're always going to serve you. There's no steps that will hinder you or hurt you. That's the other remarkable thing. This is why this stuff is mind-blowing to me, and it continues to be mind-blowing the farther I get on my journey. It was mind-blowing at first, which is why I wrote my first book. I may as well show you that since I'm talking about it. I wrote my first book in 2014. This is a beauty. Love this one. Not the best cover in the world, but I had no guidance. But what's inside is absolutely amazing, from doormat to sweet empowerment. And there is different stuff in this than there is in this book. Little tiny things overlap, but not a lot. But I was so blown away on the things that I was figuring out that I was driven to share it with the world. I couldn't not. Like, I wanted to tell everybody. In fact, it was probably getting annoying to people because I would notice where they were stuck, and I would, yeah, and I want to share things, and people would be like, what the hell? I had to learn to not do that, let's just say. But I was really excited to share those with the world. And then I thought that was it. Like I had figured out, cracked the code, the one code. But as time went on, I realized, oh my gosh, there's more and there's more and there's more. This healing journey never ceases to astound me. And if Sharente is still in this room, I'm sure that she can testify to that same thing. And her mama, who, by the way, I interviewed on my podcast. You can find it here. And it's about transmuting energy. Her name is Lois Hampson, amazing woman, amazing podcast episode. Lois has been through a lot and she self-healed herself, not only mentally, but physically, something you want to check out. It's in my podcast tab here. But anyway, what I've noticed is there is no step in the healing direction that's in vain ever. And is it ever wasted? Even if you did the self-healing work for 5 minutes and didn't do it again for a year, that 5 minutes mattered. That 5 minutes mattered. I know. This stuff blows my mind repeatedly. And it's what keeps me super excited because it's not like I'm teaching elementary school math year in and year out and year in and year out. I'm growing things. I'm learning things as I'm growing too. So the path just gets mind blowing over and over to me. The other thing that I've noticed is there's a lot of paradoxes on the healing path. Things that we think are going to hurt us or hurt somebody else end up being the best things for everybody. That's another one. There's only one thing that's stopping us, and that's taking the first step. We have to be willing to take that step. And if we don't want to do it for a minute, by all means, I was going to say self-employed. That's not the right word. I guess you are self-employing yourself as your own coach. You have free will. You have free will. So you get to do whatever you want. No one's over here telling you what to do. I'm certainly not telling you what to do. And nobody gets to tell me what I'm going to do either. I do what I feel called to do. But I do know something for sure. I feel so much better than I ever did in my entire life at this age. Okay? I feel so much better. And it's not because people go, you turn this age and you stop giving an F, or you turn this age and you stop doing this and that. That's not true. It's not just the clock tick, cling. Oh, all of a sudden you don't care about what anybody thinks anymore. That doesn't happen. That does not happen. I wish it did. I wish it was like, hey, you're 50. This is what happens. It doesn't happen. I kind of waited for that. And I still see the TikToks and the things of people saying that. And I'm like, it's not true. You don't turn a magical age. However, when you're doing the healing work, there comes a time where you do stop giving an F. You stop giving a fart about what people are thinking. And that just deepens. But that doesn't mean you get harsh. Because if you stop giving a fart and you're getting harsh, you're not going the right direction. Okay? You stop caring. You stop being attached. But you're moving forward with peace. There's something to this. It's very difficult to describe. And the one thing I've known along my path is each step of the journey, I'm having to describe things that I've never experienced before and that other people aren't talking about. So it's very difficult for me to put things into it. That's why my first book took 3 years. Not only was I working and had kids and sick parents and all the things, but it was because I was trying to find language to feeling. I was trying to find language to what happened inside of me. And I felt like it was hard to word. I didn't want to use the wrong words. I wanted to be very clear to people. But what happens on this path, it's not all of a sudden you just stop caring about people and it looks sassy. And it's not like that. It's just, it doesn't matter anymore. You know that people are mostly spending time thinking about themselves and not you. You know that you're fallible on purpose. And you've also taken a step back and looked around the world and look at all the other fallible people. All the other people that might be doing better than you, other people that might be doing worse than you. And you're like, we're all in this together. And sometimes you may advance a little bit and then someone goes past you or you stay stuck in an area, whatever it might be. And you're just like, it's all good. Because you can't rush the healing path. That's the other thing. Many times we're in a big old hurry. Big ol' hurry, we wanna get there. But I will tell you this, we can cut the learning curve. We can't rush the actual healing. We still need to check the boxes of the curriculum, of the credits, right? We have to check the boxes. Biology 101, biology 102, English 101. We have to check the boxes of our healing journey. And it's not biology, you guys. If people didn't understand my analogy, that's a joke. It's a metaphor. We still have to check those boxes as we heal, but we can cut the learning curve, and we can do that by watching videos like this, by reading books like this that tell you, here's how you do it. This is how you do. And if you take the time, and this one too, it's got all kinds of workbook stuff in it. By taking the time to, and I'll put those in the description too, by taking the time to apply those things to your life, first of all, you're going to cut years off of the slow burn learn. Trust me. I did the slow burn learn. How many times did I had to get whacked in the head by a 2x4 till I finally said something's got to give? All right. So I finally had to hit bottom, broken homeless with 3 kids in tow until I could go, what the bleep is going on here? Why? Okay. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't learn until they hit bottom because the pain is not too great. It's not great enough yet. But when the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change or the uncertainty or the unknown of change, that's often when we change. Okay. So that's why a lot of times we have to hit bottom. It has to get so bad till our hearts are open, our minds are open, our hands are up in the air, and we're like, God, help me. Angels, tree, somebody help me. Somebody help me. When that happens, but there is something magical that happens inside of the brain. The brain loves to solve a problem. Write this down. This blew my mind. The brain loves to solve a problem. So if we're ruminating on the problem all the time, thinking, worrying, there's nothing changing. But the minute we say, how can I fix this? How can I heal this? How can I change this? What do I need to do? We have now asked the brain a question, and the brain is wired to seek for answers. So it's going to be searching all around for the answers, and the answers are going to come. And when they come, the best thing to do is to implement them into your life. This light seems really bright right now. Let me try to turn it down a little bit. Maybe I'll just go with some mood lighting. How's that? That better? I don't know. My eyes are kind of burning today. I want to turn this down a little bit though. Okay, there's that. Okay. So the most important thing that I want to leave you guys with, Little Iodine said, I see you as painting a picture of a path to peace with words, not paint. What a gift to us from you. So talented and full of love and caring. Thank you, Little Iodine. Thank you. But I also want to say, you who beat yourself up all the time, you could not see that in me if you did not possess it yourself. I'm talking to you. We can't see love and care in other people unless we have it. Okay, we're always projecting. So you're projecting that. So I want to say you are the same and see that in yourself. We're going to make mistakes in life, guys. We got to leave that past behind. I have a quote right now on my mirror. And it says, I'm always trying to remember my quotes. And I say on my mirror because I will take dry erase marker and I will write quotes on my mirror, things that I'm learning. And I'll put them on my mirror and I'll read them every day. It says, I am no longer a victim of my past. I think that's what it says. Could be different wording. What that means is, yes, I've healed so much of my past. I've, all these type of things, but there was a few things that kept coming up for me again and again. And I would sit and think about them. And I ruminate about them, and I would think about the injustice of them, and I could think, how could that person do that? And how sad, and it should be different, and I wish it was like this instead. All these things. And I said, you know what? That's staying in victimhood. That is staying in victimhood. That's staying in the past. Past is over. That thing is never happening again. And you know what this moment is right now? This moment right now is a manifestation from our past. We manifested this moment. I'm in a manifestation of this moment. So I want to be mindful about what I'm thinking about because I know in 2 weeks I'm going to be living a manifestation of this present moment. So I don't want to go back there to where it was painful, to where it hurt, to where I made mistakes, to where other people made mistakes to me, to the limiting beliefs or fears that I accrued along the way based on the treatment and behaviors of other people. I don't want to go there anymore. I don't want to go there anymore. It's keeping me small. Even if I just had one toe in the past, that's enough. I don't want even a toenail in the past. I'm going to keep myself present. This is my newest practice. And if something comes up in the past and it's an okay story, yeah. But if it's a story that I don't need to retell for the 84,000th time, I'm not gonna. I don't need to. I don't need to go back into that energy. I don't need to go back into that space. I don't need to think about it again. I don't want to ruminate back there. Those people are long gone. Those situations are long gone. I want to make the most of the time I have here. I want to be present right now. Oh, I thought my thing was blinking. I thought I had muted, but I didn't. I want to be present right now in this moment. I want to create with you guys. I want to have these amazing conversations. I want to see what y'all have to say over here in the sidebar that thrills me to death. Okay. So, one of the reasons why we have difficulty, excuse me if you guys heard me burp. I didn't mean to do that. I'm like, maybe they didn't hear as my head went, maybe they didn't hear that. I'm like, yeah, they probably did. Okay. One of the reasons that we tend to not want to give ourselves grace is because we're hyper focused on the wrongdoing that we did. We think we are a complete F up. Here's the deal, y'all. Can't change that. It's done. This is what we can do. Ready? We can do better next time. Even if those same people are not in your life, even if it's different situations or scenarios, there was still an energy that was swirling during that time that prompted certain behaviors. Okay? You can do better by getting out of that energy and getting into a new one. And you do that through the self-love tenets, which I discuss in my book. Number 3, didn't plan on bringing my book up. I don't even plan. You guys, I don't plan these things. I don't go, okay, at 52 minutes, show your book. I don't do that at all. I wing things. And sometimes I don't even talk about my book, but it's here. So I'm going to talk about it. But these are the things that you're going to learn in the Recovering People Pleaser. You're going to learn to apply these things to your life that quite literally soothe all those shameful and unworthy places inside of you that thinks you are wrong, that thinks that you need to be held to an unrealistic standard that is quite frankly ridiculous because there is no standard. Here's the other thing, you guys, this another mind-blowing thing on the spiritual journey, okay? Ready? We're all learning, growing, shifting, evolving at different rates. And there is no standard for learning, growing, shifting, evolving either. We're all over the place. Every single one of us is in a different place in our journey. Every single one of us. You might meet some comrades that are in the same place because you'll notice you'll vibe together, right? And you may stay together. You could even grow for a little while, or maybe you end up fracturing off. We don't know. But we're all at very different spaces in our healing journey. So does that mean that these 4 people over here are right and good, but these 10 people over here are not? Now put that in a matter of billions or even hundreds of millions. These 100 million are at fault, these 100 million are not. No. There's no judgment to be bestowed upon us about where we're at in our healing journey because we came here to be doing this. We didn't come here to be perfect. So can you imagine Teaching a baby to walk and then judging it because it's not walking very good. That's like saying that's what God does. Sends these little, I call us teeny tiny baby humans, sends us teeny tiny baby humans to earth to toddle around, to knock over juice, to eat dog poop, talking about babies, to stick our finger in the light socket, hopefully not, to put things up our nose. My brother put Kix cereal up his nose. You guys remember Kix, those little round balls? He put Kix up his nose one time. I went over and smashed it so he could get it out. But anyway, God didn't say, come here, teeny tiny baby toddlers. If you guys know anything about children, toddlers are a hot mess. And then judge us and say, well, these 10 toddlers over here are doing good, but these, no, because toddlers don't know any better and we're the same. And you might think this is simplistic. You might be like, Kristen, this is a little ridiculous. No, it's not. We are children of God. We are unconditionally loved. And we were put here to learn. The end. To learn, not to be perfect. And guess how people learn? Drum roll, please. We learn by making mistakes. We learn by being in relationships. That's how we learn. Okay? So to say I should have never made that mistake. Oh, here's a good one that'll blow your guys' mind. Another crazy spiritual thing that I learned. To say that you're not supposed to make mistakes is to say that you are special. Here's the deal. Course in Miracles says, all children of God are special. And no children of God are special. What does that tell you? We're all created equal. Every single one of us. We're all special because we're God children. We're of love. We're of the highest essence and energy in the universe of love. We're all special because of that. Yet, not one of us stands out above the rest. We're all created equal. Isn't that cool? These are the things that I heard that were capital T truth on my journey that sat me down and made me ponder. Wow, I'm no different than anybody else. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with her or him or her. We're all doing the best we can. It leveled the playing field. And just because someone might be making $1 million right now, they might have a crappy relationship. Someone over here might have the perfect physical health and body, but broke. Someone over here might have, I forgot what I'm not listed, the perfect relationship, but doesn't have their idea of a perfect body. If you notice, everybody struggles in some area because we wouldn't grow if we didn't. And sometimes it sucks the area that it is for us. We don't like that area. We wish it was a different area. But there's a quote that says, put everybody's problem on a table, you're going to pick yours back up again. I find that fascinating too. Because we actually came here wired to work on this problem. So if somebody comes in with another problem, we're like, eek, I don't want that problem, because we're not wired to work on that. That wasn't our curriculum when we came here. All right, let me read the last note. As this day has gone forward, I'm realizing that although my children, comma, there were so many others in their life that they chose to see as examples, they chose to imitate, not just me. I am welling up with tears right now, just so you know, sister. You can probably see it. I am extremely proud of you for that. That makes me so happy I love you, little iodine. We're not responsible for everybody. This is what I also said. Okay, you guys, something's going to happen here. It says 20 seconds. Ads will run shortly for some viewers. I've not done this yet, so I'm going to hang out and see what happens with this, but I want to talk about that. It's in 10, 9. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. We all can like do this little virgin tour of ads on my live stream. Let's see what happens. Okay, nothing happened on my side. Ads inserted. Did you guys have anything happen on your side? Maybe it doesn't happen while you're live. Maybe the ad just goes in. Are you guys there? Will somebody comment so I can know? Y'all are quiet. Maybe you're being shown an ad. Thanks for learning with me, guys. I appreciate that. All right. What was the last thing I was going to say? Oh, when I was raising kids, I was like, that's it. I'm going to raise the most amazing kids. They're going to have the most amazing confidence. They're going to have the most amazing self-esteem. They're going to not suffer like I did. They're going to get it. They're going to have the most amazing experience because I'm going to be their mom and I'm going to make sure that they never think there's something wrong with them, that there's something bad with them. I'm going to make sure. And that didn't happen. Why it didn't happen? Why did it not happen? Because I wasn't the only influence in their life. And I'm going to tell you, I saw no ad. Okay. Well, I don't, maybe it'll go when I post this. Thank you, Lil Iodine. I'm new to this whole ad thing. It's kind of fun. But I realized that I was not the only influence in their life, that other people and society and school and little kids and friends and media and TV, and there was a whole world out there that was giving them information, not just me. And it made me realize that I only had so much power, that I didn't have the power that I wished that I had had as a parent. And that's good in a way too, because our kids' brains are very pliable, elastic. I'm not sure the right neuroplasticity maybe is the right word, where they can learn and unlearn pretty easily as far as, programs and stuff. So they can have, like, if they just learned from me, they would have only had this much information because there was other people in their life that gave them good information too. However, if they just learned from me, maybe they wouldn't have gotten the negative either. But we can't control that. We just can't control it. And in my closing remarks, like I'm a lawyer in the courtroom right now, I'm not, just kidding. I've never said my closing remarks, so that was kind of fun and different. In my closing remarks, I just want to say this one thing. I invite you to think about somebody or someone that you love so much, that you support so much. A little iodine, the way you support me. You don't even know me in person yet. The way you treat other people, the kindness, the love, you see them, you honor them, you respect them, you cheerlead for them. Grace means giving that same thing back to yourself. It's telling yourself you're okay. I got you. Come here, let me give you a hug. You got this. I kiss my kids' heads a lot, and they're even grown, who did it to my husband too, and my dogs, and my cats, and everybody else. That's the loving care that we need to extend to ourselves. When you turn that stuff around and you start giving that to you, your life is going to change. It can't not. It can't not. And you are going to, when you do this consistently, I'm going to tell you something to you guys, it doesn't take that long. You do it consistency, you're going to notice a peace coming over yourself that you didn't have before. That's one of the first things that shows up is just this kind of, I call it flat line, but I don't mean dead. Okay. I don't mean that kind of flat line. I just mean it's kind of, instead of being this, moods and stuff, you're just kind of this, you just kind of flow with life much easier than you did before. And you're going to notice things don't bother you like they used to. You're not as hard on yourself. Maybe something that you would never done before, all of a sudden you got some confidence to do it. Maybe it's just to try wearing a hat. Can I tell you, I'm just going to say this. This is totally irrelevant. How many people look so doggone cute in hats and won't wear it? They go, "What do you think of this hat?" I'm like, "So cute." And they're like, "Nah." And they put the hat up. I'm like, confidence. You guys know I'm a hat wearing fool, right? I'm in Arizona. I have very pale skin. You can see my sun damage right here, right? If you ever guys ever notice that, that's from the shade of my chin growing up here, right? I wear hats outside everywhere I go when it's summertime. Always got a hat on. Sunblock, the whole thing, because I've had skin stuff. Okay. And I just rock them. I'm like, I'm gonna rock this hat. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if my kids, I bought a hat in Mexico recently. My children go, that's kind of makes you look like an old lady, mom. I'm like, oh well, whatever. I think it's cute. It's white, it's got a cool bow on it. Because I'm not gonna care anymore what other people think. Because I like that hat. But these are the type of things I see people do all the time where they try in a new outfit. They're like, "What do you think about this new outfit?" And they're rocking the outfit, but yet they won't wear the outfit because they're like, "Nah, it's a little bit too something." Well, we're here to be expressions of our authentic self. I don't know about you guys, but I get bored with repeats. That's why I can't watch the same movie over and over again. I don't want to see cookie cutter friends. I want to see people that rock their bad selves in the world. That's what I want to see. That's what excites me. I saw this girl, I forgot where recently. She had these pair of pants, and she was kind of further away, but I would have walked straight up to her and been like, "Where did you get those?" They were like these 70 kind of bell bottom-ish psychedelic pattern. I'm wearing bell bottoms right now. You guys don't know it. Yeah. Look at that. How about those pink shoes, some Argyle socks? Right? I'm not kidding over here. Those shoes aren't even mine, they're my daughter's. But I'm kind of going off on a tangent. I just want to say be willing to be who you are. When you start to apply the self-love tenets and all the other practices that are in my book, From Doormat to Sweet Empowerment, a spiritual guide to reclaim your true worth to attract the love you deserve. And that just doesn't mean love out there, like as far as a partner. It means love from life. All the goodies. Okay? When you start to apply the concepts in this book to yourself, you are going to find yourself shifting and changing and morphing in ways that you didn't even know weren't serving you. I'm telling you, the paradoxes on this journey are mind-blowing. All of a sudden, I'm not feeling a certain way that I used to feel before, but I didn't even know that before the way I was feeling wasn't serving my life. Because it becomes so part of who we are, we don't even think it's something that's not serving us. Okay, I'm going to read my notes again. You influence me in a beautiful way. 2 of mine OD'd. Yes, I remember. Too late to teach, but no way did I teach them everything. I tried with so much. Yes, you did. I know you did. I can tell by your love. I love hats. Rock some hats, Little Iodine. And my great goal is to meet and hug you. Yes, we will meet and hug at some point on this journey. I know it. So with that, you guys, I'm going to leave you with be gentle with yourself the same way you would with someone else that you love. Be gentle with yourself. You got to turn all that energy that you have focused for so long loving other people and turn it back to you. And guess what? Energy is double-sided. It's not that you're going to take away from them and give to you. It just means you're going to start giving you what you've been giving everybody else. And your world is going to shift. It can't not. It is the healing journey. So thanks everybody for being here. So glad that you guys came and passed through my rooms. I love you. Thank you for talking to me over here, little iodine. I'm so glad you joined because it was your comment, I think that made me get on here and do this, that promoted me, inspired me to get on here and give this. If you guys are interested in buying my book, it's right up here, the HTTPS right here, go.ht/book. You click on that. It's a really short URL that my really dear friend made for me, and that'll take you to the Amazon site. And after you read it, you know what I'd super love? If you gave me an Amazon 5-star rating and review to keep my book ranked. Let me tell you something, out of millions of books that are on that Amazon, it's still ranked pretty damn high. I'm very excited. My heart's in that book. And I can't wait to write my next one. All right, you guys. Michael's, I know you rock. You rock, girlfriend, and I love you. Mwah. Peace and love, everybody. Until next time, remember, you matter. Now go love yourself.